Welcome back, awesome people, to Airwaves. And today we are so happy for having Mr. Galligan here again, the Canadian ambassador to Iraq. It's great to see you again.
Thank you very much. It's really great to be back with 95.7 again to talk a little bit about Iraq.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So how has your experience been in Iraq?
It's been really one of the highlights of my life. It's been professionally incredibly rewarding to be an ambassador here, but also personally, it's been a period of tremendous growth. And I've been really lucky to see how incredible this country can be, its natural beauty, its history, and to meet its people.
And I have checked your X account.
Yes.
Formerly known as
Twitter.
Of
course.
So it's amazing.
Thank you.
You have met many Iraqi officials and citizens. So could you tell us, what do all of them have in common?
Sure. So I think reflecting on Iraqis and Iraqis are all different, and they share certain things in common. So I think that there is, in general, a strong sense of identity here. So I think people are proud, particularly of the history, the cultural legacy here in Iraq. And I also think that no matter where you are in the country, who you meet with, whether it's students, shopkeepers or politicians, I think there's a general recognition that the Iraq that exists today needs to improve. And so everyone recognizes that there is challenges with corruption, there's challenges in the economy,
right,
and that governance needs to be better. And I think that that's a good place to start, because that realization goes throughout the culture and throughout the system. And so that's a positive starting point for significant change.
Okay. So like many countries, Canada has played a significant role in supporting many projects here in Iraq. So could you highlight some of them?
Yeah. So we've had, since 2016, we've contributed about $500 million in humanitarian development stabilization support. And that has covered a huge amount of need across Iraq, whether it was responding to the Yazidi crisis or stabilization activities or development concerning water and climate. I think on a personal level, some of those have resonated more strongly with me, where I've gone to visit people and you see the impacts of those programs on people. And in particular, we spent a lot of time investing in women in Iraq and women's empowerment and women's economic opportunities. And so some of those programs around women advisory boards throughout the provinces, and also some of the vocational training programs that have really focused on helping women transition from education into the workforce, is really important. Only 5% of women in Iraq between the ages of 18 to 24 are engaged in the labor market, which is really low anywhere in the world. And also, I think there are some programs that are making a difference in ways that we don't expect. So we've done some interesting technology programs in places like Mosul, where some of the 3D printing and marketing tools we've supported.
Right.
Young women are now using 3D printers to produce personalized prosthetics for people who've been hurt in, IED incidents. We're also heavily involved in demining activities around the country. Mosul's another good example where the old city is being demined by a Canadian implementing partner in partnership with the United States. And that's really opening up the old city for, resumption of economic activity and tourism. And I think the final place where I think our activities are going to continue to grow in Iraq is in the climate space. So we have about $15 million in climate activities focused primarily on water in Iraq that have launched during my time here. And that's going to continue for several more years as a way to try and jumpstart some of that climate smart agriculture, solar panels, working to empower women farmers who play a really important part in the economic value chain here.
Many aspects.
Yeah, many.
And what about a Clean Iraq initiative? I saw that post.
Yeah.
So did you just take part in that, initiative, or did you support it?
So that initiative came from, so there's a genesis there. So I wanted to try and organize an event with Clean Iraq for Canada Day. So I wanted to use Canada Day as a way to do something positive in the community.
Okay.
And the timing didn't quite work out, so we did another activity, cleaning the Commonwealth War Games ceremony here. Cemetery, sorry. And then I saw on Instagram that they were organizing the event. We're in contact with the UN. We fund a lot of UN climate-related activities here through FAO, UNDP, and UNFPA. And so one of the organizers is Canadian as well, so he reached out to me and I said, yes, I'd love to come. And so I went just to really show my support for the initiative. I think that's the kind of change we need to see, because that is a youth-run initiative working with the private sector and UN. It has government support too, but to get like 500 young people, men and women from all over the city together to just do a cleanup initiative on the banks of the Tigris, those are the kind of small steps that are going to be required throughout this country. And if we can scale up those activities and integrate them into a broader climate and clean Iraq effort, then we can start to see the sort of fundamental change that's required in this country.
Okay. And speaking of your account on X, I mean, sorry about that, but I did lots of research.
Sure.
Okay.
Good.
So what about Kirkuk? So apparently you are the first Canadian ambassador to visit Kirkuk.
Yeah.
So did you visit any other, governorates here in Iraq?
Yeah, I feel so one of the benefits of being in Iraq the last few years has been, it's a period of relative stability. And so I'm the first, my cadre of ambassadors is the first that's really, gotten out from behind the T-walls and ventured out into the country. And we've used this opportunity to get to know the country and its people. And, I really wanted to see as much of the country as I could. Kirkuk was really interesting. And I think it's important to start to travel to places like Kirkuk. It has a new airport. It made travel very easy. Obviously politically in Iraq, it's a complicated space.
Right.
So, and there are lots of there's the upcoming provincial council elections are going to be the first there in many years. So we wanted to go and engage the population, the electorate, and see what's happening. I've also been really fortunate to travel to places like, I've been to Basra many times. I've seen Ur. I've been to Maizan, Najaf, Karbala. The only areas of the country I didn't get to go I didn't go to Samarra, and I wanted to, and I didn't go to Babylon, which is so close to Baghdad. But maybe there's still time.
Maybe, why not? I mean, I think you should visit the minaret.
The Leaning Minaret in Samarra, yeah. No, I would love to, and of course the very important mosques there too, which I'd like to see.
Okay.
Well, there's still time.
Definitely. So speaking of time, I mean, it's really sad that, this is your last month here in Iraq. So if you had the opportunity to come back here, would you do it?
Yeah, leaving Iraq feels bittersweet because I've enjoyed my time here, but as an ambassador, eventually you have to go. I feel in some ways that maybe it's the right time to leave because I love being here and I'm excited to be here and I want to learn more and meet and do more here. So in some ways, it's sad to leave, but it's maybe also a good time because it's nice to feel that way when you depart somewhere. I certainly look forward to coming back to Iraq to visit some of those sites I'd never been before. And also I'm going to leave Iraq with so many wonderful memories. I'm going to talk about my experiences traveling I went to Karbala during Arbaeen. It's amazing. I was one of those people who was lucky to go to the Gulf Cup in Basra and I spent my 44th birthday there in the stadium. So I have wonderful memories of this place and I look forward to coming back, as a tourist in the years ahead.
That would be amazing. And to be honest, like whenever we mentioned your name in front of someone, like especially Iraqi people, they would say, "Oh, the nice ambassador."
Oh,
okay. So
I think there are many nice ambassadors, but I'm very happy to be perceived that way as well.
Yeah, amazing. Now, what about missing things here in Iraq? What will you miss the most about living here in Iraq?
So I'll definitely miss my colleagues. I'll miss the people I've worked with every day. There are. Iraqi, I came from Lebanon and people always say Lebanese food is the best in the Middle East, but I think Iraqi food is comparable. Certainly things like Iraqi dolma is got to be the best in the world, for sure. And then there's some things that, I'm not going to have again. Like I'm not going to find Kemar in Ottawa or Mazguf. So things like that I'll miss, but I also miss the energy of Baghdad. You really sense when you're driving around, there is a lot of economic development. There are new restaurants and cafes opening all the time, some of which I've been able to go to. And I love Iraq. I love Baghdad as a nighttime city. When you drive around the evening, you see there's so many lights, there's so many people walking around. There's a real, I guess, yeah, there's an activity in the evening that is hard to compare with cities in Canada, and I'll miss that, and I look forward to coming back and experiencing it in the future.
Looking forward to it. And I think when it comes to diversity, I think you've seen this here in Baghdad and Kirkuk.
Yeah.
Right? Like this diversity.
Yes. Yeah, and I think for a Canadian, that diversity of Iraq is nice. I think, you know, there are about 75,000 Iraqi Canadians now, or Iraqis living in Canada, many of whom are becoming Canadians, and you know, they come from all across the country. And when you live in Baghdad, you see the mixtures of people, the interactions. You see families that are, you know, part Kurdish, Shia, Sunni. Like, you know, it's not as divided as I think people think when they first arrive. And I think that creates a real dynamism here that is special in the region. And it's a sort of, if the country can more effectively capture the energy and the opportunity of its minority communities and that diversity, it can be a real cultural powerhouse again.
Okay. Now, last but not least, what would you like to say to the Iraqi people before leaving this country?
Gosh. Yeah, I think for the Iraqi people who I've met over my years here, they know how much I've loved being here. And I really want to express my heartfelt gratitude for the warm welcome, the access, the conversations we've had. It's been really wonderful to get to know so many of the Iraqi people. I've been welcomed into their homes. I've met their families. And I'm going to really cherish all of those memories for a very, very long time.
Okay. Mr. Galligan, thank you so much for being here and taking the time to do this interview with us. And we really hope to see you in the future.
Thank you very much. I look forward to coming home back to Iraq soon.